Hello, everyone. Susan Gerbeck from Psychics Explained. I've never done a trigger warning before, but this is a trigger warning. This is disgustingly gross. And I mean, physically. But if you want to stay and watch it, probably don't do it while you're eating. Okay. So I was at this mentalism conference in Dallas, well, Irvine, Texas, this last weekend. And this is my third year doing it. It's called the Magisterium, and it's spelled, goodness gracious, MAG. Well, heck, I don't know how to spell it now. Magisterium with Magistrorum. It is a conference for bizarre mentalists, people who specialize in seance, people who specialize in carny and geek and bizarre and all kinds of stuff. And it's done as they're speaking to their peers. So there's no holes barred as far as how things are done. They will show you how things are done. Because this is like about technique and their presentation, and they do the presentations to get feedback from their peers. Anyways, my third year doing it, and I was invited because I had gone with Mark Edward one year, and then and they honored him at that one. And then the next year he had died, and I gave a talk on psychic mediums. They figured out, wow, this woman does talks on psychic mediums. Okay. And then this year I went back and I did also talks on psychic mediums. I'm saying all that because I really don't know what my reception would be with this world of people who perform as psychic mediums. And it's always done with the idea that it is an act, just like people who do close-up magic. We know they're not really doing magic. It's a skill, sleight of hand, very fast, coin magic, where they make the coins go really fast around their hand, or escapology. These are all forms of magic. So mentalism is that special form. Okay, I'm telling you all this because I'm sitting down after a lecture at a table with somebody. I'd done my talk on Thursday. I was the opening act, and you can find the lecture on my YouTube channel. Just follow that. But this guy came over to me and he says, Susan, because they all know my interest because they'd heard me give a talk, and the year before I gave a talk on psychics. So he pulls up his phone. He says, have you ever heard of this guy? His name is Mychael Shane, Mychael Shane. He said he just happened to, it just appeared on his feed one day. And there it is, this guy. Oh, I'm going to show you. But like I said, it's pretty gross. And you better be sitting down because you're going to go, what the heck? I, I was, I'm going, no way, no way. And my friend Rick comes over and he sits down. He goes, and I said, look, Rick, have you ever seen this? And I showed him the phone. He's like, what? What? So I came home. I came home Sunday, and I'm recording this on the 24th, I think, 2025. I think it's a Wednesday. And I said, I'm going through all the stuff I have not been able to get done in the last few weeks. And I said, I got to talk about this Mychael Shane. I've got to share this with you guys. I will put links up. I was going to do a deep dive on this guy, who he is, how he's doing it, and so on. But then I came across this pig cake person, Pigcake. He's a magician. And he already did a really good debunk of this man, Mychael Shane. So I'm going to leave his video, Pig Cake, is the first in the description of this video. So make sure you check it out. He shows what's going on and what he thinks is happening and so on. So I want to leave that out there for you guys to see, because I mean, why would I want to redo somebody else's work? I mean, he's already explained it. But I'm going to show you some videos from Mychael Shane that you won't see on the videos that Pig Cake does. And I'll also give you my thoughts, because we were talking about it amongst the other mentalists that were there. And we were really surprised, some of the ideas we had of how it's possibly being done. So I didn't personally do a deep dive in this, but I don't think I could watch these videos for long. So let's take a look. This man, okay, you can watch Pig Cake in a minute. So what Mychael Shane is doing, and I don't even know if he's still alive. I don't know how he can manage to be alive still. The videos I'm seeing of him are from 2017-ish, and I'm recording this in 2025. He is a large man who has a audience of people who believe, apparently, that he's apporting coins and jewels. Now, apporting is, gosh, this is so old school. Apport is, if you watched any of the Harry Potters or read Harry Potters, apport would be like something materializing, badoom, psychically, supposedly. And so apporting is like an item coming into a place that you summon, I guess. And this is very old Victorian seance kind of stuff. In fact, what this man is doing, a lot of it is Victorian seance kind of thing. He's doing billets, which is, gosh, maybe after the 1900s, early 1900s is where you take little papers. I mean, there's a lot of different ways of doing billets. They talk about it at the mentalism conference I was at. My friend Nestor, he has written a whole book translated from the French on billet reading, B-U-L-L-I-T. I think that's how you spell it, billet reading. And it was in the movie and the book Nightmare Alley, and all kinds of different mentalism effects, and psychics used to use it. I talk about it often because it's a really cool piece of magic that once you know the trick, you're like, well, that wasn't so great. But I've seen it done lots of different ways in pre-show where people are going into an event and they are told, hey, could you write something down of the person that you write it on this piece of paper, on this clipboard, of the first person to ever give you flowers. That would be something Mark would say. Just write their name down. Or like in Peter Popoff's case, where James Randi exposed him, where they were saying, write a prayer card, write this prayer card. And so they have ways of getting that information, either by the clipboard has some kind of rigging to it where they tell you to keep the paper, but actually it's already transferred over onto something else, or a table, or they tell you to fold it up a certain way, and it has to be folded a certain way. Everybody's has to be folded the same way, and then throw it into a basket or something. So you can see billet writing in a lot of different places, but it's a historically older kind of thing. So that's going on in this Mychael Shane's way. He's also using cabinets, which is, again, that's like the Davenport brothers, where why do you have to be in a cabinet that's sealed off with a cover so nobody can see what's happening inside the cabinet? And again, going way back to Houdini and beyond, where the people would be in this cabinet or whatever, you'll see him in his curtains, and they're tied up, which means nothing. If you guys have seen it, and I showed you James Randi doing the escape with the ropes. There's so many effects you can do with magic where you look like you're tied up, but you're not tied up. It's like, boom, you're out. And then you put your hands back in, back in, and you can look at the knots and they look like they're absolutely solidly tied. So I'm not going to get into how they do that, but it's a magic effect. It's not something that's, he's got tape over his mouth. And then in some cases, I saw a video where they initialed it. And I don't get what's the point of that. So if you take the tape off your mouth, how is that going to disturb what's written on the tape? Now, if they put the tape across his mouth and wrote on his face and the tape, like put initials right across or something, or a signature, and then like photographed it really close, and then afterwards seen if the tape, the writing on the tape matched the face, that might be interesting. But no, they're not doing that. They're taking a piece of tape and duct tape, putting it over his mouth, and then And then whenever he's back, the tape is still over his mouth, but it's written right over his mouth, not off the mask, the tape in any way. So it's really kind of strange. But they think they're doing something. And he also, so the cabinet stuff is really fascinating. They used to put these people in the cabinets, I guess, because it's like the dark seance. And they would play music. You'd hear music coming from within inside the cabinet. And there was all these musical instruments put in the cabinet with these people who were tied up. Anyway, one of the things Pig Cake says, and it's pretty interesting, he says, I don't blame this Michael Shane. He's just doing magic, right? What he blames is the people who are the followers. Why in the heck can they not see what is obviously going on? There are some different methods to what he could be doing, but it's really the same thing. So when I was watching this at the magisterium with the other mentalists, we had some ideas. Now I'm going to show you this. I'm leading up to it. This is a 3-minute video. No, I'm going to show you first this one. It is 1 minute, 12 seconds. I'm going to show the whole thing. It's called a red light seance with phenomena number 2. Reverend Mychael Shane. I will put the link in the description underneath the Pig Cake thing so you can look at it. If you want to watch this again, I don't think you'll want to watch it again, but I think you might want to show this video to your friends. And you're not looking at, like, you'll take your phone and say, hey dude, check this out. So you can't see it. Not like, hey, let's watch this together. It's in black and white, and that's because it's filmed with infrared. In other words, it's a dark room and it's filmed that way. I think that's what's going on. You can see because of the lights of his eyes. So it makes it much more spooky. You ready? I can't believe I'm gonna watch this again. Maybe I'll see something new in it. Okay. Let me pull this over so the only thing you see is this one video and not all the tabs I have open. And I'll let you see. It's from 8 years ago. He has 213 subscribers. There's 16 comments. Okay, I'll read some of these comments. These are great. But it has 2.7 thousand views. And okay. I keep building this up. Let's go. We can do this, you guys. We can do this together. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I'm going to do this. There he is sitting in the cabinet. These women have pulled out this flashlight to see what's going on. And he's sitting in this chair. And here we go.
Uh-oh. Help me up. You want white light now? Okay, turn the white light on, please. Overhead, Kathy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, turning on the light.
Just let him go. Just direct a lot of love and light to Michael right now. Wow. Oh, gosh. Okay, direct a little.
Don't touch him, people. Good God. Okay. For all of you guys who are just saying, Susan, what did you just show me? Why did you just show me that? You're welcome. Imagine my surprise as I'm sitting there at the magisterium looking at this going, oh God, what is wrong with people? I Let me show you this other one. Yeah, I'm gonna show you another one. Where is it? Okay, this is the one I saw first. This is 3 minutes. I don't know how far I'm gonna get in this, so just FYI. This is a different one. This is also 2017. It's it's by Bastler Cy Vernon. You can see, you can read it. I think he has a big following in Germany. So I watched part of an interview and they kept bringing him back to Germany. I think he comes over twice a year and he has a following over there. Ready? At least you know what to be prepared for. I'm not kidding. Don't be eating while you're watching this. Here we go. You can do it, you guys.
Also jetzt Knüppel aufmachen und du da anfangen.
I don't get it. He's tied to the chair. What was the point of that?
Mach's weg. Sag mal das.
Wer?
Das ist überhaupt nicht.
Wieso? Wow. Wie meinst du das?
Bildschneiderzeit.
Das Bild? Water, please.
Kann ich das schnell machen?
This is cold still. And open. There's one right here. There's one by Sabine's foot.
They put that one in oil too.
Also die haben das auch in Öl wie gebadet, diesen großen Stein.
Table? Yeah.
Ja, Luzi ist getting between.
Luzi,
Ja?
soll ich es weiterlaufen oder soll ich es abstellen?
Das schon der Kabine oben.
I like having you guys here to watch these videos with me. So I have some questions, and I suppose you do too. So I have a couple things I want to show you that I noticed on this video that I didn't notice before. So I'm just going to point them out. Let me just show you really quick. We don't have to watch a video again. Let's see if I can find the spot. There it is. Okay. Let me pause it and let me show you this. Back up a little bit more. So he stands up, they help him up. And then when he goes to sit back down again, there. So when he goes back to sit down again, you notice there's something underneath his seat. Now look at this. I will show you a few seconds of this. Right here appears to be, I'm going to make it bigger, appears to be a bowl of water. So watch.
Kann ich das stellen?
See the water moving in it as he jokes. Now, the other thing I want to show you is this is blue. The first thing that came out of his mouth was a blue, gigantic crystal or something. But look at this blue right here.
And open. There's one right here.
So why is it blue?
There's one by his foot.
Okay, so I mean, I have other questions besides that, but right, so I don't know. Why would you apport items out of your mouth in the first place? If there was spirits, I've never seen Matt Fraser and Tyler Henry do that. Gosh, I want to see Tyler Henry do some regurgitating of some jewels and rings and coins and stuff. They're always very clean. I don't see any rusty rings or anything like that, or rusty coins that were out in the road earlier. But okay. I don't want to be offensive, but I'm going to be a little bit and say this kind of reminds me of somebody in their retirement years. And I shouldn't say this because it makes me sound really bad. And saying, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And somebody says, Grandpa, why don't you throw up gems and coins and rings in your retirement? And he says, you think maybe I could fund my lifestyle choices of going to Germany a couple times a year? Do you think that maybe people would sit and watch me throw up? Would that be something that maybe women would kneel at me and hold blankets that I could throw up in? Do you think that might be something I could do with my life? My life would be wonderful if I could, like, who thought of this? Except that I have a feeling this is probably common back in the Victorian early days, you know, the 1880s to 1920s. I wouldn't be surprised if this was part of their gig, like the billet and the cabinet work and the ties. I'm not so sure. I've never really paid attention to apports. He's also tied around his waist in that chair. And I thought that was interesting. Why was he tied around his waist? What did they think he was doing? Getting up and walking around inside that little area, curtained area? Why would you think that? If those rings and the crystal were in the glass thing of water that's underneath his chair, would they be visible to people who are looking? Because I have a feeling that, and I mean, this is just the stupidest thing for me to say, that maybe people wouldn't notice it because they would look like just a thing of water underneath, and you wouldn't see the silver of the jewelry if it was underneath. I mean, but why would there be a bowl of water underneath his chair? Is he peeing into it? Because no. What's the point? Because when they go to get him water to drink, he goes and they get him a bottled water. They don't go underneath the seat and pull out the bowl and say, here, drink this. Now there's another video. Lord. Let's see. This is the interview. Let me see if I can find something in here. This is German. And they're interviewing him. And
When we bring him.
okay, so let me show you this. This is a close-up of what he's throwing up, apparently.
Get that off, get it.
too. Keep it at the camera angle. Look at the size of that puppy. Good gracious.
So being a physical medium is really a passion for you, or
Yeah, it's having to go down to the coffee shop and play pinochle with the guys. I mean, there's things you could do with your lives, of course. Just going to show you what they did. And Pick Cake makes this comment that some of the videos he was watching, there's cuts in the video. They've been edited and possibly edited to show, take out the other stuff. But I have a feeling this is going on right in front of these people who are just refusing to think of it as anything but spiritual. I don't think they're in on it. Oh, okay. Here we go. Here we go.
Good shape.
yeah.
How would you know you could do this? Is it like, did it happen in bed at night once? So
Sometimes when I tell people about my experiences and being in a physical seance, I hear, oh, I already know the spirit world exists. What is it good for? What would you answer?
Education. You know, to give a little nudge, because the masters will not tell you what to do. It's for educational purposes, to help, to be part of our the human soul involution and evolution.
okay, whatever. You notice that when he's throwing up is mouth size. I mean, it's not like he's throwing up, regurgitating or whatever. Large amounts of capacity in your mouth. I mean, what is being tossed is stuff that could be held in your mouth. Now, I don't know how much I could get in there, but I've never tried. But some of those things look huge, but I mean, he's a large man. If you practice, I guess you could figure out how you could do it. So in one of the videos, and it might be the one that we were just looking at, what they do is before they put the tape on his mouth, they fill him up with water. They give him a big old thing of water, and then they put the tape on him. And then they set him down, and then they close the cabinet. So he could just be swallowing that water, taking the tape off, ingesting all the stuff in there, and then putting the tape back on him, and then coming out of the cabinet. I mean, that would be the simplest way of doing it. Occam's razor. He says they have to check his mouth. They open his mouth to make sure he doesn't have anything in there before he goes into the cabinet, and before they put the water in him, and before they tape his mouth. But if you're in the cabinet and that's where you're shoving the stuff in, putting the tape back on you, is that so at the conference, we were sitting there and thinking about it. And it's always his largest item comes out first. Some huge thing, very visual. And we thought, could he be a regurgitator? Now, I don't know a lot about regurgitating. I mean, other than I've raised children and I've been a human being myself. But apparently, this is what I was told by the magicians and the mentalists that was at this conference. There are people, it's like a carny act, people who perform at circuses and variety shows, the people who put needles in their body and hammer nails up their nose or swallow swords or do fire eating and stuff like that. There are people who, that's carny. It's not magic. It's not like it's a trick. They really are putting the sword down their throat. They really are shoving the large nail up their nose. They really are getting stapled. They really are laying on a bed of nails. They really are swallowing fire. They have fire. That's not a trick. I mean, there might be ways of doing it without harming yourself. That's a trick, but they're really doing it. Whereas a magician is going to be, it's going to look like that's what they're doing, but that's not what they're doing. I guess that's an easy way of explaining it. So I was told there's people who regurgitate. They swallow items and then they throw it up, but they do so with a skill of practice. I don't know how you would do this, but I guess you just practice of throwing it up without being like physically ill, like we would, where you would throw up vile stomach acids or whatever you had for lunch or anything like that. I don't know. Maybe this guy starves himself right before this. I don't know. But there are people who can do that on command. They just open their mouth and they just regurgitate it up their stomach. That's a skill. So that's what we were thinking at the magisterium. But that's what I was told, is that might be what he's doing. He's just swallowing it and then just regurgitating it, and maybe keeping the biggest item. Obviously, he couldn't swallow some of those huge things, keeping the biggest item in his mouth. Though they were telling me about some guy who regurgitated like a pool ball. So I guess it's possible. Maybe they put oils or something on it and makes it go down easier. And then you can just, I have no idea. And so here's another question I have. I bet you're thinking this too. So I've seen several videos of him regurgitating or reporting things, and he doesn't seem to be doing the same thing, because that'd be really interesting if you're doing the same thing each time. Kind of like, where is he getting this stuff? Does he go like on Etsy and says, I want to buy that whole thing? Or he goes to state sales and he buys out, all that costume jewelry, and he goes and he takes all the stuff apart. So it's nothing sharp. It's all just the little glittery, glowy stuff. And, or, does he have packages delivered from eBay, or I don't know. Where is it coming from? Because why? It ain't coming for the spirit world. And then the biggest question, is it real? Not what he's doing. Is the item real? So he's got these giant gemstones and rings with lots of jewelry, glittery stuff on them. Are they real diamonds and emeralds and jewels and coins? Because if so, that's a lot of money. That's pretty wealthy. That would be a big, wealthy thing to do. And if so, I would like to have this ability to apport money and jewels into a towel, and then I could take them down and sell them to the gem store, or wherever, silver, the place that collects gold and silver. Do you get to choose what you get to apparate and be pretty wealthy? I certainly wouldn't be in a venue like that with the I mean, the tulips were nice, but that was Germany. But everything else looks so cheesy. I mean, it looks like somebody's hotel, like a very small hotel somewhere and off the highway somewhere, and they moved the bed aside and put this cabinet up. I would dress better, I would hope. If this was like, if that jewel, that big blue jewel that popped out of his mouth, or those things that look like diamonds, if that was a real diamond, well, we would be, I mean, that would be massive. And if you could do this and they were real gems, you'd think the world would know. And again, we have to talk about these signs that are supposedly being sent to people. If it's a real diamond being sent to him, real coins, is the spirit world making the coin like, or diamond, like counterfeiting it and making a crystal just perfect with no dirt or anything on it? Or is it taking from a spot and transporting it into his mouth that he can throw up? Because if so, then that's theft, right? Or is the entire room under a delusion? It's just they all are in on it. They're all with it. And it's just for the 2,000 views. This last one we saw has 1,009 views. So they're not making money off the YouTube channel. Anyway, I don't want to visit this again, but if you guys have ideas, I'd like to hear them. If somebody comes up with something new, like answers a question that I haven't asked, please put it in underneath this description. It's just, when you think about what's going on, and you and I are looking at it, if we watch it from a perspective of he's got stuff shoved in his mouth and he's just regurgitating it into a towel, then it's really disgusting. But if it's the world of spirit is putting these things into transporting him into your mouth or your throat or whatever, and then pushing him out, well, I want to do it. I think it's great. So, no, I'm just kidding. Leave me your comments. Please don't make me visit this again. Please, please, no. But leave your comments. I just don't want to watch any more of this. So check out Pig Cake. I'll put the description because he does a good review of this.